What is going on? Welcome to the 9th episode of the Nintendo Powercast.
Number 9.
I'm your host. Did I say 8?
Number 9.
No, you said 9.
Oh.
Johnny Utah, number 9. No
Number 9. So, I'm your host, N64 Josh. I've got Destinaut with me, as always. What's up, my friend?
Oh, nothing much. I'm super excited. We're going to talk about something near and dear to my heart since March 3rd.
Yeah. The salt factories have everybody's on strike,
Salt
I
mines
think.
of Mordor.
Or
slowly coming offline. Slowly.
Yeah. Guys, we have 2 very special guests with us tonight. These are guys that I spent a year podcasting on a podcast called the Aimcast. We got TwoloudTX. What's up, buddy?
What up, man? I'm so excited. Okay, so I knew you had a Nintendo podcast. I'm like, man, I want to talk Nintendo so bad right now. I was the biggest hater on Nintendo. I told you were stupid and just shut up on our last show for a year and a half. And I'm sorry, man. Sincerely, I'm sorry.
You were right back then.
Hey, could you introduce the other guy that's in here? Because you kind of have a special way of doing that.
And of course, you let me bring along my companion, my buddy here, my gaming buddy, Nolxero. What's up, Bros?
Man, a lot. Man, Nintendo's up, man. Their stock with me is way up.
Ryan, I'm going to take that salt and I'm going to lick it. I'm going to lick that salt. I'm going to lick that salt down.
It runs deep.
I think Nintendo's family friendly, bro.
It is. Oh,
We'll keep it clean. We're good. We're good. So to give you guys a brief history, these guys were not big fans of Nintendo when I used to be on that show with them. Like they have a history with Nintendo, and it's
love Nintendo, hated their direction. That would be that's it.
Yeah. And so we've had interesting conversations about it, and some were kind of like small boys on the schoolyard, like Nintendo, Sega, but it was more like Nintendo, PS4,
we completely turned around because you're an Xbox fan, right? And like me and David completely hated the Xbox One, and we've come around to it. We don't hate it as much as we did.
Right.
We've enjoyed. Obviously, they've dropped some good titles, so we've been enjoying Halo Wars, obviously, but we've come back around to the Josh circle. I mean, we're like,
welcome home.
Yeah. But before we dive into this, can I say something? There was a moment, Josh, that me and you sat on the couch, hand in hand together at E3,
eating Rice Krispies.
2016.
Oh wait.
And we were awake together early in the morning before sunrise, watching it come through the glimmering ghetto windows of the place we were staying at. And everybody else was sleeping and snoring away. And yes, we had to shut doors but there was something we were doing together that was so intimate and private. And to this day, it sticks with me. And that is we were watching Zelda be premiered together on the television. We could have been at E3, but instead we were there sitting on the couch together watching Zelda for 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It was magical.
How pumped was I though at that point? Like I was so stoked on that game, man. And it has lived up. I just wanted to recall that. So as we talk tonight, that memory sticks with me as I go through this journey of the Switch in my life. Is sitting there next to N64 Josh and sharing that moment of the ghetto sunshine through the windows.
Through the bars of the windows.
Yeah, there were bars on those windows.
I was afraid we were going to get shot in L.A. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so and that was crazy, dude. We sat and watched that thing and we were just like we were in awe of like what is Link doing? He's surfing on the grass with his shield. And he's floating through the end, like he's on a horse and he's shooting arrows while riding, and everything looks fluid and smooth. I mean, it was enough to turn your opinion around, even just that in that small window.
Yeah, I mean, it was captivating. Like that's the best way to put it. Like we saw a lot of stuff at E3. and we got to do a lot of cool stuff. But like that moment, all kidding aside, it really was like for me, as far as the gaming moments go, it was probably the top gaming moment for me to like see it. And anybody could have experienced this from their house, obviously, because we weren't at E3, we just happened to be in LA. But like that experience of just seeing it and being like, wait a second, like this is what I wanted Zelda to be, like my whole life. And David said it multiple times as we sit in Discord and chat while we're playing together. Is like, this is, if he could have dreamed of what Zelda would have been when he was a kid, like this would have been it. Like an open world Zelda, you can literally do anything.
Yeah, it's like exactly what my brain pictures as a kid, thinking like, what would Zelda be like, if it could be anything? It's like, this is it. This is exactly what Zelda would be like.
Yeah.
I don't. Go ahead, bro.
I was just gonna say, I think, if we go back to the original Legend of Zelda, I mean, at the time, we didn't really know what the concept of open world was yet, really, but that was kind of an open world game. You could walk anywhere, not know where you were going, what you were doing. Eventually, you'd get to enemies that could totally kick your butt, but I mean, you could literally go anywhere if you wanted to, like, without doing anything in that game. And they kind of just modernized that. They finally caught up to, like, Nolxero said, like his imagination of what it would be like. We were finally at that point with this clearly superior technology that we have in our hands right now, to that point where they can basically give us what we were thinking 30 years ago.
Not only that, but like Nintendo broke a lot of boundaries that they set with Zelda. Like, if you look at Nintendo and you look at how they produce games, they always have like a rule set. It's almost like they come in with a rule book for a game and like, this is the rules of the game. You don't break these rules. Zelda's like, well, you're going to go to a dungeon. You're going to get a power-up. That power-up's going to let you do this or kill this boss or do that. And, all of them. Mario's same way. Smash Brothers, same way. It's always a formula. In this game, it's like they broke that. Now you have a whole... I mean, if we have the collector's editions of the guides, and we're trying not to use them at all except for, like, recipes and stuff. We're just trying to more so get the whole collection of Zelda stuff together. But, one thing in there is like in that guide, you can literally go in and there's an armor section where it has tons of different armors and it has tons of different weapons. And that's like a Zelda trope out the window. Like, boom, gone. I mean, how far into the game did you have to get your first fire arrows or ice arrows, which was like a major achievement in other Zelda games? Boom, this is right away. Here you go. Play with it. Have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I did the same thing. I looked in that collector's edition. And like you said, there's that armory. I'm like, whoa, like, yeah. I was expecting to get like 3 different armors or something.
Yeah. Not to mention all the ones you can get from amiibos. Oh, that's a whole nother discussion. But so obviously, Brian, you said it, like, there's gist of the technology in our hands. I have to say, though, part of the experience of Zelda is being able to take it wherever I go. And I know that sounds really corny coming out of my mouth, but like that is an experience to me. Although the screen, I will go ahead and give this salt to you, Brian. The screen absolutely sucks in daylight. Like,
it sucks in darkness.
Throw it out of the wall. But seriously, like, throw it away. Like, I took my sons to the park and I'm sitting on the bench trying to play, and I told, like, that's the first bad experience I really had, like, actually bad, where I'm like unplayable, cannot play it because I'm in a dark zone in the game, but I can't see where I'm going. And I'm like, okay, time to buy an anti-glare screen, like right now, right away. I don't understand why Nintendo and Apple must have got together and just said, hey, let's put the shiniest screens on our crap so people can't use daylight.
They're going to give us that arm that reaches over the top of the screen with a magnifying glass and 2 lights. That's what we're going to get.
Oh, that was
more
the light boy?
More accessories. That's what I want for this.
But
do you have a Nintendo Switch?
I do.
Yeah.
I was making sure.
He's awful salty for it, but
he is awful.
Because I care deep down on the inside.
I care too.
So, obviously, like for me though, I am enjoying being able to take it on the go. I think it's very remarkable, the idea. I mean, Josh, have you like set it down and then played something and in the middle of that, or like pause it and then picked it up and gone somewhere yet? Have you had that experience?
Like the toilet?
Yeah. the toilet. We took it. We had to go pick up my son at his girlfriend's, and so it was like 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, "Hey, babe, you don't mind driving? I just want to play this thing in the car and see, look great. It was fun. The Joy-Cons I've mentioned a few different times. They're a little small for my hands, but for a hand, I've been playing on the 3DS forever, and jumping to this thing, it's pretty natural. And for a game like one of the games I'm most stoked for, Mario Kart, it's going to play great on this system because the A button is exactly where it needs to be for accelerating the cart and everything. So I'm stoked to have it on the go. But honestly, most of the time I'm just playing it as a home console. I'm sitting here at my desk, streaming it on Twitch and playing that way. But then we got other games too, like 1-2 Switch. So, but before we go too much further, I want to kind of I want to real quick. I want to hear everybody's launch day. Yeah, I know Brian, you've got the story for us for sure. He's shaking his head, but so yeah, just real quick,
the best launch day story.
Perfect. Brian,
I'll go first because mine's not that great. So let me go first, and then we'll have the two good stories. So mine was real simple. David says Switch comes out today. I'm like, I'm not gonna get one. Okay, I'm gonna get one. No, I'm not gonna get one. Okay, I'm gonna get one. So I'm like, what should I do? He's like, just go sit at Best Buy. So I go stand in line at Best Buy in Waxahachie, Texas. I'm like, no one's gonna be in Waxahachie, Texas. Okay, there's like 30 or 40 people outside. So I'm like, I think I counted the line at the time, and it's like number 24, 25, maybe something like that. And I called the Walmart in Red Oak, Texas, which is actually the city. I drove by this Walmart on the way to Best Buy, and I'm like, hey, did you guys have any Switches? And he's like, yeah, we have some. We have a line start already. I was like, how many are in the line? He says, 2. I'm like, if I show up, do you have enough consoles to cover me? He's like, yeah, I have 16. So I'm like, okay, see people at Best Buy, because I know I'm like, it's I don't know how many they have at Best Buy, so I might not get one. So I drive to that Walmart. Sure enough, they also had 4 collections for the Zelda collectors editions. So I was the 4th person in line when I got there, and I got the 4th one. And so I was able to grab a console and that at midnight. So the only thing that was really odd to me is I'm sitting in line. The guys that were there, the 2 guys that were there, they had been there since 5 o'clock. I showed up at 10.
You're like, how stupid do you feel?
Yeah, I showed up at 10:30 at night. The guy that was right in front of me, the 3rd guy, he got there at 9:30. So these guys have been waiting since 5 o'clock, and it's like creak, 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 like nothing, like absolutely nothing going on. So I thought it was really odd, though, that they turned around and they told me, make sure you get a black one. And I was like, why? He's like, because the colored ones have problems syncing with the system right now. Awesome. I'm like, are you serious at launch?
It's a thing, though. It's all over YouTube.
On Nintendo. Anyways, go ahead, Brian.
Well, I don't know if I want to tell my story now that you called those guys that were there at 5 o'clock in the morning losers. No, my story wasn't exactly.
Wait.
That.
I saw the pictures on Twitter of you in your chair. I saw you in your chair, sitting there. Your wife taking pictures of you and your.
The chair actually came later on because I had went around. I didn't have a chance to pre-order. They told me, a couple stores told me like, hey, don't even bother showing up, bro, at midnight because we're not going to have them. And then I found a local store. They were like, oh, yeah, you should definitely show up. So I showed up the day before so this was on Thursday. I showed up at the store at 9 o'clock in the morning. And the store didn't open till 10. But already there's like 4 people out in front of the store. So I'm like, oh, okay. There was a sign on the front of the door, luckily, that said we have 5 gray ones and we have 4 colored ones. So I'm like, all right, cool. They've got 9. There's only 4 people here at the store. I get out, there's people standing there. I'm like, oh, you guys here for the Switch? And they're like, what's the Switch? I'm like, okay. You guys are just here at GameStop an hour early just to get a game? Like, that's dedication, I guess.
The day before.
This is the day before. Yeah, this is on Thursday. So we're there. I go inside when they open at 10. I'm like, hey, dude, is there like an official line, an unofficial line? I don't have a pre-order. He's like, dude, just it's first come first serve. There's no line. I thought there was gonna be a line here, but there's no line, so you're kind of like first guy. So I'm like, I'm not gonna stand in line by myself like an idiot. I'm gonna sit in my car 10 feet away from the line, and I'm not gonna get out until someone shows up. I'm thinking school gets out around 3:00. The line might start around then. No, some lady starts a line at noon. So I was in line from noon all the way until midnight out in front of that store. I didn't bring a chair. That came later because my wife's like, you're an idiot. You didn't bring a chair? I'm like, no, I didn't bring a chair. I got a bottle of water. I'm good. Yeah, so she brought me the chair, luckily. She brought me food all day. She was super awesome about that. But it was fun. I had never been to a midnight launch before for anything. So it was cool. Met some cool people. Had a blast.
Wait, what? Never?
I've never been to a midnight launch.
You've never been to a midnight
ever,
launch?
for anything.
I slept on pavement to get a PS2.
Nolxero was like, I've slept through more midnight launches than you've ever been to.
I got
can't
the
believe that,
flu and like everything to get a PS2.
And just so people don't know, it's not like Brian's not a big gamer. He is a big gamer, but I'm actually surprised that you haven't ever been to a midnight launch. Like even like midnight launch for Destiny?
No, dude. I actually Destiny I had forgotten about, and I wasn't even gaming a lot around that time. And on a whim, I walked into a GameStop just to be like, I wonder what's new. And the guy's like, "Oh, that
ruined your life."
I know. They're like, the Bungie game came out.
So
last
the truth
week.
comes out. You weren't listening to our podcast.
Actually, I found your guys' podcast because I wasn't listening to any podcasts around that time. I found, like, I was into photography. I found a photography podcast that led to a Star Wars Galaxies podcast, which was a PC game.
You're just going down this terrible
tunnel
of self-destruction.
And then I came across...
you started off so positive. I want to be a photographer, take beautiful pictures,
no, and then
I crapped my life away by going to video games.
Now I live in a van down by the river. No, yeah, then I found Destiny podcast.
Wife behind you, she have her bags packed? Jeez.
But yeah, no, that was my first experience, and I've been gaming since the original NES. That was my first.
Yeah, that's what's surprising.
Yeah. So, but it was awesome. It was fun, but it was also actually kind of disappointing. I've got a little sad story. The first person in line was this older lady. She was like in her 50s. She was there because it was her daughter's birthday the next day, and she was going to buy this Nintendo Switch for her daughter. So she's in line. She's whatever.
She didn't have a heart attack or anything, right?
No. This not that side of it.
That's what I was waiting for. It's like she died in the line. Like, oh my God. Why'd you gotta take it there?
Then I was first in. No.
It was worth it.
Yeah, so... No, so then she's like waiting in line. She's like, oh, it's for my daughter. Her birthday's tomorrow. She doesn't know this, but I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to buy it for her. So then, like, later on, the daughter shows up. It's a cool girl. She's complaining about her boyfriend, but, you know, whatever. And then as we're sitting there in line, just talking to each other about, like, what our favorite Zelda game was, what our favorite Nintendo game was, the Switch is going to be awesome. She's having a great time. Mom's having a great time. I'm having a great time. Wife was there off and on. Great time. Everyone's having a great time. And then this girl's boyfriend shows up. And he's like, El Senor stick in the mud. And then this girl's just having a terrible time. And, like, I actually genuinely felt bad about somebody. I know, I'm like, this isn't me. Something's wrong. Like, I don't know. It just kind of like...
You're like, you need to leave, buddy.
Yeah,
because you're making me have feelings, and I don't like it.
I don't like this. I don't even know your girlfriend. Yeah, so, I mean... I had feelings that day. It was weird. It's like my heart grew 2 sizes or something. But overall, it was a good time. So I might have to do another midnight something in the future.
I did see your wife take a picture of you playing the Switch, right after you had gotten it in your office there where you're sitting right now. And you looked happy and content.
Yeah, Josh was like, I'm going to bed. I'm like, this loser. I'm going to stay up. I'm going to play Zelda just so I can say I played it before him. So yeah, it was a good time. I love a new console. I love that new console smell. I love tech in general. I can't wait for somebody to water cool this thing. It's gonna be glorious.
David, how about you, buddy? What was it like?
It was terrible.
Oh no,
it was god awful.
Sounds about
right. Let me explain. My midnight release starts actually when the day the pre-orders went live. I I went and tried to find one at traditional places that I would go, like Best Buy, GameStop, God forbid, maybe a Target. And they're sold out in my area because everybody. So basically, what was happening is everybody didn't know how many of these things they were going to get. So everybody took like 2 to 3 pre-orders, and that's it. They're like done. So, I couldn't get a pre-order anywhere. And then I was actually, one morning I had to go get something for my kids before they went to school, and Walmart had just put this display up and that they were taking pre-orders for Zelda or for Switch. And I was like, sweet. So I went back there, and nobody seemed to know what the hell they were talking about. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you have a sign right over there in the electronics area that says, come to this area and pre-order the Nintendo Switch. That's what I'm here to do. I'm that guy. And she's like, oh, okay. So they've eventually figured it out, and they're like, oh, it's $30 to pre-order. Okay, cool. So I give them my $30. Anyways, so I don't know if anybody heard. There was a truck that was robbed that had a bunch of switches on it, apparently. I didn't fall victim to this. But so my Walmart starts floating this thing out there whenever you go talk to them about it. They're like, oh, we don't even know how many we're getting because that you hear about that truck that was robbed that had all the switches on it? And I'm like, no, don't pull this crap. Anyways, so come, Thursday night.
Wait. Little did you know what the date actually was, like altogether, what you were doing that day, what day it was actually coming out. You hadn't put all the two together.
That's exactly where I was going next. So last year, in about October, I had signed up to be a chaperone for a field trip to NASA in Houston, Texas. Nobody had given me dates, and I find out a week before that it's on March 3rd. And I still didn't even put 2 and 2 together at the time. My son's like super excited. He can't wait. He's like, I'm so excited you're going to chaperone. We're going to go to NASA. It's going to be amazing. I'm like, I'm excited that you're excited. And then, so Thursday, I'm like on this bus, and like everything just hits me. Dude, the Switch comes out tonight. So we get to NASA, we do this thing, and all I can do, I'm literally at NASA in Houston. I have no idea about my surroundings. I don't know.
This is when he starts calling me. He starts calling me on his way down. He's like, Switch is coming. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm calling Troy. I'm calling everything, and I'm going to go ahead and just expose how terrible of a person I am right here on your podcast. I'm calling every single place in the surrounding area, okay, that I consider that's in distance to Uber. I'm like, I will call every place that seems within distance to Uber.
Leave his kids at the hotel.
I'm going to leave the kids I am chaperoning in the hotel and go get this thing at midnight.
No.
So I'm calling everywhere, and nobody. Everybody's telling me, nope, there's a line, 50 people, blah, 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 blah. We only have 16 of these things. Pre-orders. So everybody that's here is for pre-orders. We pre-ordered all our consoles, all this stuff. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, dude, I'm so screwed. Like, there's nothing I can do.
You have to tell them that you already called your local Walmart that you put the $30
yes.
bucks in.
So I call these places. I realize, like, okay, I'm screwed. Like, nobody in this area where I'm at has them, or a possibility that I could get one. So I called the Walmart. I'm like, let's call on my pre-order. Because I didn't care about my pre-order. All I wanted was a Switch that night in my hand. So I called the Walmart, and I'm like, hey, I pre-ordered the Switch, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, that was supposed to be paid off by now. If you didn't pay it off through, what's it called?
Layaway.
Basically, your thing's null and void. We'll refund your money. So I don't have a pre-order there either.
Oh, no.
And he's out of town for a whole nother day.
Yeah, I'm not coming back until late Friday. So I called the wife. I explained to her the situation. Like, babe, I don't ask for much.
Her best friend's in town.
Yeah, her best friend is in town. I'm like, but look, this thing, I don't know. Nintendo's notorious for coming out with consoles and you not being able to get it for months. Like, they're notorious for this. I'm like, so if you can't get this for me tonight, I may not be able to get one for months. I don't even know. So, also a little caveat is March 5th is my birthday. And I told my wife months ago that all I wanted for my birthday was a Switch.
No pressure. That's all I want.
Right.
Yeah, just a Switch. So
Don't
he
let me
calls
down,
the
babe.
local Walmart. And when he finds out that
Oh.
Walmart,
So
that
I'm like
didn't have a
literally trying to set a roadmap for my wife, like to waste as little of her time as possible, because I know the more she has to search for this thing, the more annoyed she becomes with me. So I'm like, look, babe, why don't you do this? I'm going to call the stores around you. Let's go ahead and go to Best Buy. If there's like 20, 30 people sitting outside, you're probably not getting one there. You know that that's off the list. We can just wipe it right out of there. So 11 o'clock, she's calling me, telling me how she's tired, right? And I'm like, she's like, I'm going to take a little nap and then I'll go out and get it. And I'm like, it's 11 o'clock. What do you mean a little nap? Like, you need to be out now. Now's the time. Go. I'm like, go to the Best Buy and see if there's people waiting. So she goes and looks to see, and she's like, yeah, there's a line. I'm like, okay, I need you to FaceTime me because I need to see the line. I have to know that you're not lying to me when you say there's this many people in the line.
Under the covers, there's a line.
Right. I'm like, so she FaceTimes me. And I see all the people. I'm like, okay, that's probably a bust. I'm assuming in my head, like, people are going to get between 16 and maybe 30 tops at these stores. So I'm like, geez, dude, don't go there. And so she's driving back, and I'm like, all right, thanks, babe. I love you. I'll talk to you later. And so I call the
calling
Walmart
me the whole time.
Yeah, I keep
He's
calling
calling me.
Troy back and forth.
She won't
Troy's
stay there.
Yeah. Troy's telling me, like, oh, they got 16 here. I'm number 4. I'm, like, trying to talk my wife into going to Red Oak, which is 40 minutes away. And so then I call the Walmart where I originally pre-ordered, right? And the lady's like, we have 11, and there's 7 people here. So this is literally what I do. I call my wife, and I'm like, babe, the Walmart by our house has 11. There's only 7 people in line. And she goes, I guess I'll just go by Target in the morning. I'm like,
Why do you hate me?
that's not quite the option that I was hoping you would come to with the information I delivered. They have 11. And there's 7 people. Okay. All right, babe. You're tired. Go to bed. Go ahead and go to bed. So I'm like furious. I'm like, I'm not mad.
Because I'm like, she won't even get out of bed. Man, that sucks. My wife would get out of bed for me. Like, dude, just tell her to get her butt. Tell it's your birthday. Tell her to get up. Don't take that.
So I'm like on the phone with Troy at midnight, and I'm like, will they sell you 2? I'll pay you as soon as I get to back to Dallas. As soon as I get there, I'm gonna come pick it up and give you the money. Will they sell you 2? And the guy's like, no, 1 per customer. So I'm like, literally, there was like 3 Walmarts in the area that I hadn't talked to, and I'm like desperate now. It's literally, I start calling these Walmarts.
It's 0 hour.
Right before midnight, 5 minutes before midnight. And I can't get through to anybody there. I'm not talking where you go and press the number for electronics and they won't answer. I'm talking no matter what department you pick, nobody's answering. Nobody. And so I'm
Women's lingerie, no answer.
Sitting there forever with 3 different Walmarts trying to get somebody on the line. Finally, Troy's talking to me, and I'm just like, dude, I'm so pissed because he's got the special edition of Zelda.
I'm rubbing it in at this point. You know how it is, Josh. I'm like, I'm sending pictures, you know.
FaceTime.
Like, look at me.
He's just happy as can be.
I was like, I told him, I said, David, which one should I get? The colored one or the black one? Like, I don't know. I have choices.
The one where you jump off the bridge to get it. Like, that's the one you can get. So, anyways, I'm like, so he talks to me, and I'm like, sitting there telling him, like, she's not going to get one, dude. There's no way she's getting one at this point. It's over.
And I'm like, nope, you're not getting one, bro.
He's like, I will go by that Walmart in the morning on my way to work and see if I can get you one. I'm like, dude, I appreciate you. I love you, man. I'm going to talk to you later. So we get off the phone with Troy. It's like 2:00 in the morning. I have to be up at 6:30 to get these little bastards to their breakfast, and I don't have a Switch. I don't have a Switch. So I'm not happy.
I'm scared for these children in the morning.
So it's like rolling around. I can't sleep. I'm literally waking up like every 30 minutes because I'm like, Switch, Zelda, Link, like just constantly waking up, and time is just going by so freaking slow because I'm like, dude, this sucks so bad. Because if I was there, I would have got one. I would have drove to Red Oak, stood in line with Troy, and I would have had one. So my wife calls, like, eventually I fall asleep and actually stay asleep for more than 30 minutes. And my wife calls me at like, I don't remember what time it was, 8:15. And she's like, hey, I'm here at Target. There's no line. I'm like, really? There's no line whatsoever. It's like, no. So we're like talking, and I'm like waking up, and I'm still not convinced that she's getting one. I'm assuming somehow, some way, she's just not going to get one. I feel a little bit better that she says there's no line at Target. Anyway, so we're talking, and it's like 10 minutes before Target opens, and she goes, holy crap. I'm like, what? She's like, why are all those people over there? And I'm like, what are you talking about right now? And so she FaceTimes me, and she shows me, she says, you look at this door. You see there's nobody there at this door, but on that door, there's all these people.
The electronic side.
I said, babe, you see that green door? That's the grocery door. You see that blue door? That's the electronic door. That's why the line is over there. So now I'm like, dude, she's screwed. She's not getting. And then, I mean, just to cut the rest of this quick, she got in there, got me the special edition, got the Switch. I got lucky. But I also would have secured one either way, because when Troy went back that morning, he had the option of getting a colored one.
Yeah,
nice.
So they had two left.
Yeah, dude, Target came out of nowhere. They had the Target
40.
next to me. Yeah, 46 plus 10 special edition Zeldas, and I'm like, what? And mine didn't open until like 8 a.m. They said we're not giving these things out until 8 a.m.
Let me tell you something. You know how you said your store had 9?
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say this for myself because I watched them unbox them from the cart at Walmart. They had more than 9. They had 12 at your store. But what happened was they come in boxes of 4. 4 colored to a box and 4 black to a box. So they were already discounting you what they were taking out. Because obviously the people working there were taking theirs. So
that makes sense.
What about you, Josh?
Working.
So my night was pretty cool. I had mine pre-ordered the day you could pre-order them. I went in, put my money down, got
so you got the gray one, basically.
Yeah. So, but my son, the younger son, he loves midnight launches. Like, he loves them. And I'm like, you got school in the morning. He's like, I know, like pulling. And I'm like, all right, let's.
It only comes out once.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, let's do it. Let's make
time.
Let's make the memory. So he was in a talent show that night. So I went to GameStop at 6, paid off my remaining balance. And I actually paid for my Switch by trading in an extra Wii U and an extra 3DS. I had like virtually no money out of pocket for this thing because I just had extras of those systems, which was great. So that was pretty much paid for. And so we do his talent show, and he does this dance routine with his buddy where he's in a inflatable fat suit, and they came out as the Fat Berries. That was their name, and everybody's chanting their name. And this theater's dark, and everybody's chanting Fat Berries. And then here my kid comes out. You can't even tell it's him. He's got a mask on, and his fat suit is hilarious. So he does that. We grab some food. We come home, and he's not planning on going at this point. And then he starts kind of like, hey, can I come? Can I come? All right, let's go. So we head down there. We record, like we're recording on, like doing YouTube live all the way there, and just having a good time. And where my GameStop is, there's a Best Buy right across the parking lot. And so I have I get games at 20% off at Best Buy. So I only pre-ordered the console at GameStop, but I pre-ordered my Pro controller online with Best Buy because I had gift cards from Christmas. So we did the GameStop thing. Everybody was in and out in no time. But the problem, there was nobody in line. So like we wanted to go and hang out with people. I had my 3D. We brought our 3DS. We wanted to throw down with people and Smash and like, kind of make it. There was nobody there, and it was freezing and it was raining and windy and cold. So we go over to Best Buy, and everybody over there is just pissed that they're standing in this weather. They don't even really want to like talk or anything. So I was just like, all right, whatever. So we ended up we drove around a little bit, went and got some more food. Played Smash and Monster Hunter in the car together, kind of just hung out until midnight, grabbed the system. Then we had to stand in line at Best Buy. I stood in line longer at Best Buy than I did at GameStop, and literally had to wait. Like they let one person in at a time. It was ridiculous. So,
yeah, I hate Best Buy's method. Like,
yeah, it's not good. So got in, got the stuff. I was like, I want to do an unboxing first thing in the morning, do it live. It was almost 1:00. So I come home and I pass out. I get up at 7:00. I'm dog tired, trying to get coffee in me. And I start doing this unboxing online, and everyone in my chat is like, you seem super enthusiastic. And I'm just like, shut up. I still have my sexy morning voice right now. Just leave me alone. Like I need, let me wake up.
He's like, here's the left Joy-Con.
Yeah. So it was literally like Ben Stein. Like that's what it was like dry eyes, like literally Bueller. Even my wife was watching it. And she was like, what are you doing? Like, get excited, So anyway, that was it. It was fun. Handed out a bunch of cards and talked with people a little bit. So I want to get some local meetups going with people playing Switch and whatnot. But that was the gist of it. It was fun. It was fun. The next morning, of course, fired up the stream and jumped into Zelda. So let's talk about that. Troy, you fired up Zelda.
Obviously, I fired up, right? And I tweeted you and Brian, and then you're like, hey, if you get the Wolf amiibo, and this is this
is after we already.
This is what we have to share. This is one reason I wanted to come on, because I have to share this. So you're like, hey, if you get the Wolf amiibo, you get the Wolf in the game, and I'm like, what? Right? Because I bought all the other ones when it came out. And anybody that knows anything about me, I have this major problem with addiction. Okay, like I get super addicted. And I get I want every little toy, and I want the best of the best. And that's just me. Thank God I have a good job. So, and currently no house, so I'm not paying any mortgage. So of course I have a little bit of extra money, right? And tax returns come back, and your bonus came. Yeah, not anymore. So you send me on this hunt. Well, David finds it. So David buys 2.
I literally text him. I'm like, hey, look what I found.
So then he's like, hey, two of the new amiibos are out as well. They have them here. I'll get these 2 for us. So he buys those 6 amiibos.
2 links, yeah.
2 links, and then I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go find the other 2. So I found the other 2, and then I looked on my phone. And I'm like, wait, there's a big one called the Guardian. We got to find this. So I go over to the Best Buy, and they had one. So I got it. And then David's like, oh, I got to get one too. So then
that's why me and Troy are great for each other and terrible for each other.
Yeah. So then he ends up ordering one online, and then the next day he's walking a Walmart, and the lady's literally pulling out of the cart to put it down. He's like, I'll take that, and he takes it. So now we have the 5 new amiibos and the wolf, and then we find out there's even more.
Yes.
Right.
And then that's when I went to Target and picked up the 30th anniversary 8-bit link.
You probably have more access to them. Mine are inside the house, and yes, I am in a garage for everybody that's watching. So that happens. But then it starts this journey, Josh.
Oh my God!
I hate you for.
Can I show them before you explain the journey?
All right, yeah. Show them.
This is a box. What's in that box? A crap ton of amiibos.
They're all the same though.
No.
Dude, this one right here so you understand, is incredibly hard to find and currently sells for about $200 online.
Oh, I'm not getting that one.
Oh, Brian.
Jeez.
Look, okay, so
Oh, it keeps going. We got more. So this one right here just has a bunch of links, Ocarina of Time links. I've got Shovel Knight here. I've got Ganondorf. I've got Zelda.
The sickness has begun.
okay, so here it is.
I have
we have
Ocarina of Time link.
What does Yoshi's Woolly World get me? That's what I really want to know.
I've got Smash link, and it's actually the original print.
Oh.
So anyways, how we got all these, right, is a question people ask. And how much money did you spend?
So Zelda cost you guys $700, is what I'm hearing.
So before we
We're
just got
together about $2,000 deep into Switch.
well, not really, but literally. So before you go beyond the 5 amiibos, we figured up that we spent about $600.
That's right. 700
Okay.
after.
Right?
So last night we started this thing where we were looking for all the rest. We have to finish our collection now, right? We have to finish the collection of all the Zelda amiibos that work for Zelda, and there's a total of 15.
Mm.
Okay. And so I start looking around, and we're scoungering everywhere. I'm telling you, every website I ordered from Play Asia. I ordered from. we found some
$50
on
in shipping right there.
Target, all this stuff, right? So we found all this stuff, and we placed an order on a few items. Like four. I placed an order on 3. He placed an order on 1. Sets, right? 2 at a time. Well, like my goal today was like I got to find them. I have to find them. Near my work is like a Best Buy and a Target and 3 GameStops, and I'm like, hey, we can get them used if we have to. Like, let's go find them. Well, known to self, you can't find them used. GameStop doesn't take them in anymore.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Best Buy's collection sucks, by the way. If you live near a Best Buy, that's the only place you have to go. I'm sorry for you. Their collection blows. Target is up and down. Like, you might find one if it's a Target that doesn't get a lot of traffic. But if it's in a high-class area, I'm sorry. I have a very big point for people. If you want to find amiibos, go to the ghetto. All right? This is the honest truth, okay? So
All right.
I text Josh today, and here is the honest truth. Because they get so many, and I guess they don't sell them a lot in lower income areas. Today, Josh, I had ordered 2 Zeldas online, right? The Smash Brothers Zelda.
Yeah.
They were $15 a piece. I walked into a Walmart today. I was about to leave.
Yeah.
And I walked around the aisle just on the other side. It's like the big aisle. I was like, I'm going to leave. I'm walking out. And I turned to the right, and there's a clearance section. In that clearance section sits a $5 Zelda.
Nice, dude.
There was 4 of them. I got all of them.
Nice.
Was one of these
Yep.
ticket at $19? It was $12.
Nice.
Okay, so like before this, I've been to 20 stores and not found one.
Yeah.
I work in Frisco. It's an hour north. Every store and Toys R Us on the way home I hit. Every Walmart and Target I could possibly see or think of that wasn't too far off my beaten path. And let alone I spent an hour at lunch looking for them. So, yes, I found Ocarina of Time. $6. The tag says 10. It was $6.
Nice.
Okay? And so we bought every single one we could find. Now, when I was at the store, I told
There's a
David,
pile behind David right now. For you guys that are just listening.
I told David, I said, David, there's only one of these, bro. I'm sorry. There's not 2. And, for $5 a pop, we're like, oh, well, let's get whatever else they have that's Smash Brothers. Because if you have done any research, which we have become nerds at this and done research, the Smash Brother ones are out of print. They're taking them all out of print. So if they haven't already been out of print, they're taking them out. I had ordered multiple ones at Toys R Us, and I got an email today that they couldn't fulfill my order because they can't find them anywhere. Yeah. I spent an hour at one Toys R Us today that I had ordered them at because they were trying to locate them. They couldn't, and they didn't want to tell me the bad news. But literally right after that's when I found this find. So he even got some extras, like we got let's see. Oh, we got like for $5, right?
Nice.
Lucas.
Yep.
Right? For $5, I got Ryu.
Yep.
Right? Like, I mean, who wouldn't buy this for $5?
Right.
So I'm gonna take your guys' stories, replace the word amiibo with crack cocaine, and all the retailers with crack house. And I think I have the script to Requiem for a Dream too.
After I left that Walmart, there's Walmart I passed on my way home, and my wife's like, at this time, I left work at like 6 o'clock. At this time, it's 9 o'clock at night. So I told my wife, I'm stopping at Walmart before I come home. I walk in and I literally had to like clear my eyes, dude. Like this can't be happening to me. There's no
I'm
way.
on the phone with him, and he's literally like, "Well, I don't see. Oh my god!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!"
So, dude, we found original link prints. All right. So the difference is
link.
The difference is the little stem that holds him up is yellow on the original prints. It's a pea yellow. Well, so many people complain they change it to a clear. Right? They have like 15 of these, bro. And guess how much they are? $12. So we bought extras.
Ocarina of Time link, $6.
And we bought extras of the
Wind Waker Link and Wind Waker Zelda.
Yep. And we have a couple of princesses. So, yeah.
So to put this in the context, dude, the thing to understand I'm just putting this out there for people that actually want to look for Amiibo. He found these at best 10 miles away from where I was currently at working. Okay. So the night before, we were doing all this looking online, web pages, trying to figure out who else sells them besides the main big boxes. And so I had done a search for specifically Smash Bros. Link and the Wind Waker couple set that comes with both of the Wind Wakers. And in a 100-mile radius on Walmart's webpage, they said there was no Walmarts near me that have them. We find them less than 10 miles away from where I was. And so what we found out tonight, when we're ringing up a lot of these Amiibos, is as these things are coming out of their inventory, they get shuffled to like this generic Amiibo scam. So if you call Walmart or if you go on their website, you're trying to figure out, will they have this rare Amiibo I'm looking for? You got to go because they won't know. They're going to look on their computer and say, oh, we don't carry that anymore. Or they're not going to show up on the website because it's under this generic Amiibo scan.
Pro tip, guys.
And, so you have to go to the stores, and it is crazy that we like found it. And I'm like, of course, I spent $200 more, but I mean, think about how many I got, dude, for $200.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're about $800 deep into the Switch. But that's our Amiibo story. It was just absolutely crazy, man. And when I found this like pile of like $5 Amiibos, I'm like, oh my gosh, like the heavens. Like, dude, I literally felt gifted. I was like, thank you, God. I said a prayer. I was like, oh, you're so amazing to me.
So I have to ask, what / why? What was it about the Switch and like this Legend of Zelda that kind of like compelled you to kind of go this route?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to tell you why for me. And I think this speaks to Troy as well. So anybody that's listened to us for a long time on our other show would know kind of mine and Troy's history, but to kind of briefly give it, it's like, we played a lot of Dragon Crown and a couple other games on our PS Vita when we first got that. And that's where me and Troy, since we've been playing games together, have ever really put any time into handheld gaming. I played it a lot when I was a kid, like the Pokemons and stuff like that, but as like older me and adult me, it just never was a thing. Like I love mobile gaming, or not mobile gaming, but handheld gaming. But the problems I always ran into is if I'm at home, I don't want to sit there and be confined to this little tiny screen. I don't want to do it. So that's what initially spoke to me with the Switch. It was exactly what I've always wanted from a gaming system. It's like I can play this awesome game, Breath of the Wild. That's a full-fledged AAA game, and I can play it on the go. Or as soon as I come home, I can throw it up on my big TV. Or if I'm playing on my big TV and my wife wants to take over that big TV, hop it right back out and I can continue to play my game without having to move a console. Because like just before the Switch, I was playing Skyrim on my PS4 and I had it on our bedroom TV. So my wife comes in to go to bed. Next thing I know, she's like, hey, I want to watch a Netflix or something. And I'm having to completely unplug a PS4, take it over to my desk, plug it back into the monitor. And it's just like, God, this is so terrible.
Yeah, I mean, so like why get all the amiibos is because, like I said, I have an addiction. Like because I enjoy the game so much, I want every piece of the game. It's the same way with Destiny. If you listen to us when we did the Amos Gaming podcast, like Destiny came out with the microtransactions and all the dances, and I bought every single one of those dances as soon as they came out, and I dropped like $150 and gave it all to
Collector's
Bungie.
Edition of Taken King, Collector's Edition.
I sold my old PS4 and got the Bungie, got the Destiny Edition PS4. Like that's. Like if I love a game, I'm dedicated to that game. Like I want to enjoy it. But I go with David. Like as I'm getting older, like I travel right a little bit. I go to Kansas City a lot for my job. So I'm on a plane or I'm in a hotel, and like literally what I've been doing is taking a game system. If you guys know what that is, the Games Vanguard system, which is like a briefcase. You put your console in, it's got a TV, and you take that on the road. Well, every time if you go to a hotel, systems don't have a way to accept the terms and conditions from a hotel internet, right? So before this recent trick that I learned where you can actually assign your Xbox a alternate MAC address, so you could get on your phone, for this pro tip for anybody out there that travels with their Xbox, if you go to a hotel, sign in on your phone, take the MAC address from your phone, turn your Wi-Fi off, and then put that MAC address inside your Xbox. And that MAC address has already been cleared in their system, so you can go ahead and just sign on with your Xbox at a hotel. But before that, what I was doing is I was traveling with my work computer. I was traveling with this briefcase of a game system, and I had another laptop, my Mac, because my work PC is locked down, right? They don't let us do barely anything else on it besides work stuff. And so I'm taking another laptop so that I could connect it to my Xbox to use the Wi-Fi. So literally to go on like a 3-day trip, I'm taking a mass amount of crap just to play some video games at night when I get home from hanging out with customers at the bar or whatever. So like for me, the Switch is so ideal because now I can just take it on the go, right? Like I can take that and get that same experience. I can set up that little bitty screen if I want to, or buy an extra dock to throw in my travel bag and get to a store and actually use it. And like, not to mention, yeah, I agree with you, Josh. Like the joysticks on the sides, they are handheld joysticks. Like at the end of the day, they aren't the quality of a control.
Up.
There's some things, yeah. The Switch is not perfect, right? And I agree with you, Brian. It's not. It has its flaws. God forbid, please Nintendo, launch a chat system. Get rid of friend codes. Like, I don't know what you're doing. I hope this is just a Band-Aid for the time, but like. Those things they can improve on, but the idea of what they've done, and they were really close. If you look at this console compared to the Wii U, there's a lot of similarities, right? Yeah. They had this idea going for a while, and I think, Brian, you also can't expect Nintendo to come out with the best technology. That's just not what they do.
Oh, I've given up on that a long time ago.
Right?
I mean, I already know that. This is pretty technical though. This system, and like you said, the portability of it, like. For you guys in chat, like, I mean, look how thin this thing is. Here's an iPhone 5, you know. That's, I mean, you got Jenko jeans, you can slip this thing right inside. I mean, you're ready to go. But like, yeah, I think like you're saying, this thing's like, I remember seeing it and being like, I'm not into portable gaming at all. So when I first saw it, I was like, this seems like it's a handheld that just happens to have a dock. I'm never going to undock this thing, whatever. But it's one of those things where it's like, you don't know you want it until you got it. And we joked about like, oh, yeah, I'm going to take my Switch to the toilet with me. I've done that. I'm not afraid to admit that. But yeah,
I've done it too.
It's like,
I love that.
It's glorious. It's you can do that. I remember, like, I love to sit here, and sometimes my wife will be like, "Hey, let's run here real quick," and I'm like, "Ah, I'm playing something." I don't have to say that anymore. I'll just take it with me. It's pretty awesome what they've done.
Or you be
on
a
the
bad
pet
dad
side.
like me, and your kids are like, "Hey, let's go to McDonald's the other day," and so they can play. And I'm like, "Ding, okay,
Yeah,
I'll
let's
sit
go.
there and play my Switch." Why I pay no attention to my kids running around McDonald's and
It's
making
nice.
a complete mess. It's okay.
Yeah,
Like,
when you're
but-
at McDonald's, that's McDonald's responsibility.
Yeah, it's a don't they babysit your kids there? But
Hey.
like, and that was the thing when I found out like the collector's edition of Zelda gave you a carrying case. I was
Mhm.
like, this is perfect. Like,
Yes,
why?
please.
Can
Why
you strap that
wouldn't
to
I
your
buy
belt though, just like Link? That's what I want to know.
Sure, it looks like a man purse, and everybody at work makes fun of me because I'm a complete gaming nerd carrying this around. But yeah,
It's a
when I go
satchel.
when I go somewhere, I take it with me, and like that's what's so entertaining to me about it is like for me in my lifestyle now, it is more conducive.
Mhm.
And although I love like, and I can tell everybody this, I love multiplayer games because I love beating people. Right? I've said it many times. I love to like make people hate the game so much they want to quit. And that obviously just a competitive side of me. And although this doesn't have it yet, I think they do have hopefully some things in the works, and that they have as long as Nintendo keeps coming out with good software they can release enough of, right? And that's always the catch with them is like, can they release enough good first party titles that keep coming, or can they get third parties to actually jump on board, right? And although like a game like Destiny wouldn't work on this because I mean, unless you're in your house, I guess to go, on the go, there's that problem, right? Is like
you don't come here to play.
Well, but we have a game coming up that this is going to present itself right now. Steep from Ubisoft says internet required on Xbox One. Right?
Hey, bro, you saw Steep at E3, right?
No. I understand. We own Steep. My son loves it. Like I play it with him. It's not. It's actually kind of fun for
It's better
a
than
short
it was
period
E3?
of time. Yeah, it's definitely better. But again, it's just I can take it in short spurts. The thing that I'm curious about is am I going to be able to take this on the go? Because it says for the Xbox you have to be online. You cannot play. It's just like Destiny. It's just like Overwatch. Just like
Try tethering to your phone.
No, but what I'm wondering is, can this game? Can I take this game without? Do I have to tether? That's what I want to know, right? Because that's going like you can't. I mean, yes, there's hotspots and whatnot, but what are they going to do in this situation? Are they going to make
You
it
can't guarantee that you're going to have
an online game?
You're not going to have. You can't guarantee your Wi-Fi, regardless, even if you're tethered. You never know.
Well, Brian, I've owned. Oh man, I think I've bought 3 PS Vitas. Like I hate it. I throw it away or sell it. I hate it. No, I need something to play on the road.
I've owned 2.
Sell it. Right. Okay. I'll take one more because they're $100, and I don't know if I ever get one again. So
Right.
I'll just have it. Maybe it'll work with my PS4. So, but literally that thing sits in my bag. Like I never play it. I don't. I mean, I have titles for it. I never play it. And now, like my kids are getting older, and they want to do stuff. Like I've had a blast playing 1-2 Switch with my son. He's 4 years old, and his reaction speed on the gun game on 1-2 Switch is redonkulous, dude.
You don't have the busted Joy-Con, do you? Is that why he's winning? The
No,
one that doesn't sync? Okay,
No.
just checking.
The other day, dude, literally, he did it. You know how it shows you how much time you do it in, Josh?
Yeah.
Like, he did it in like 0.0432 seconds or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, unbelievably, it made me laugh so hard. My other little son gets a kick out of watching us play the telephone game. And yeah, these are like mini games, and they don't really have much substance, but it is fun in a group of people to do. And that's that Wii catch, right? That everybody loved about the Wii was like, hey, the old people can bowl now, right? Like, let's put it in every nursing home across America. Like, one thing you can give Nintendo is like, if this is a gimmick, like, holy crap, they're going to make a lot of money.
Well, the thing about it being a gimmick or not, the one thing I was going to say when you were talking about having the PS Vita sit in your bag is the big thing I think that happens to gamers is, say you're playing, whatever's on. Like, I just bought Horizon Zero Dawn. and I enjoyed it up until I got the Switch. And I'll probably go back to it as soon as possible. But,
look at his wife. Look behind him, like, oh,
like,
you
you
bought
better
that
enjoy
game
that.
too. Yeah, she's like, you bought that game too. Golly.
So, so when you're playing it, you get into like maybe one or two games on your console. Maybe it's like one's like a multiplayer game and one's more like your single player. I'm deeper into this. It's hard to go to like a handheld because what happens is even if you're just like on a road trip, you're putting in other titles, right? So you're playing games that either they're not very deep because you don't want to get into something too deep and then not want to keep playing, because you don't want to get on the handheld when you're at home. Or you get, you're playing a deep game and you're like, well, God, I want to play that game, but I don't want to be on that handheld. And that's why this fits that need as well, because you're getting to play that deep game with like Zelda. And it's like, well, I can play it on the go. I can play it on my TV. It's just great because you don't have to switch titles just because you're going to be mobile now or
Switch.
because you're at home.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, you played a lot of. You still do. From last time I talked to you, you play a lot of DS at home, right? I mean,
periodically, yeah.
Yeah, you guys, you'd sit in bed with your wife and you'd both play DSs at times,
Mm-hmm.
And so, here's my question to you though: will this take place of you taking your DS on the road now? Like, has Nintendo ineffectively like kind of caused themselves some shortage in like Game Boy sales because now, hey, why would I do that? I just have my I just have my Switch.
It's an interesting conversation. Like I actually have it as one of our points to talk about at some point on one of our shows. So we'll bring it up now. The thing is, like the Switch is a $300 piece of hardware.
Yeah.
Right. You can get a 2DS for $80.
Yeah.
You can then get the step above that. The new 3DS is like double that price, and then for $40 more you can get the XL. That's a market that I don't think Nintendo wants to leave, right? But what I think is going to happen when they phase out the 3DS in 2018, the Switch is going to drop down to that price point, and a higher model of the Switch is possibly going to be released. I think we're going to see. Nintendo has always loved Apple. They've talked about them in the past, their business model, seeing them on stage at the keynote this year for Mario Run, that kind of stuff. Like, I think we're going to see, and I mean, even Xbox and PlayStation are doing this very same thing where 3 years now there's a pro system coming out. I think the time of 6 to 10 year life cycles for consoles is done. The Wii U was 4. So to say in a year and a half, maybe it's a little longer. Maybe they wait, they phase out the 3DS and then they wait a little longer. I think we're going to see this system get a price drop to fill that market, but then have a more powerful system that may play both games still. I don't know. Nintendo did a new 3DS that says you can only play the Super Nintendo games from the virtual console on it. You can't play them on the old ones. And there's like a handful of games that will only work on the new system.
And that's where I think they missed out. It's like me and David talked about this. Like, why didn't they make it available to put a 3DS game in this system?
Dude, I was telling Troy, I said, dude, could you imagine, like, how many games? Because me and Troy, because I asked him, he has a 2DS, and I said, how many games
Or
have you
3DS
played
too.
on there? And he was like, 4 maybe. I'm like, okay, so 3DS, 2DS, new 3DS have just an amazing library. I know that they have a ton of great games for that handheld platform. But how many people are there that have never really gotten a handheld are missing out on all that? And I was like, dude, if as bare bones as the kind of the Switch is right now, it doesn't have a lot of the features it's going to have. It doesn't really have much of a launch lineup other than an incredible Zelda game. If they would have launched this system with that capability to play that entire back catalog of 2DS/3DS games, I'm like, dude, they would have the strongest thing possible. Like, that'd be the strongest release of a console ever. It's like, dude, we have thousands of games for you to play, plus an incredible Zelda game.
Yeah. I kind of have some predictions on that. This is just me talking out of my butt, but Nintendo being Nintendo, if they were to make that slot for the little DS games, how are they going to charge you for games you already own if you have the physical copy and can just stick it in your machine? We don't know what's going on with the virtual console. I'm sure that'll come and we'll end up getting ports to this thing. I also feel kind of like what Josh said as far as like the DS, they're going to let it do its thing. It's still probably selling phenomenally well. If it takes a dump, I'm sure they're going to be like, hey, let's make the let's like the Switch replace the DS in a sense. I know there's been like patents online filed for like, there was an original concept also of like the dock possibly being able to not just do what it does now, which is provide more power to this system to allow it to, bump up to 1080p, but, possibly beyond that. I know in the PC world, they have external video cards that you could plug your PC into, and then from there it goes into your monitor, which is not too far off of what the Switch going into a dock kind of is in a sense. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe we'll get it like the Pro model dock.
We'll get it next year. We'll get it next year. Well, what's going to happen is if you look at Nintendo brings out a Game Boy, they bring out the slimmer Game Boy, then they bring out the one that has a light on it, and then they have one that has some color added to it, and they bring them out year after year after year. So
it goes that Apple
new
model.
Nintendo product.
It is the Apple model, like Josh said. I mean, it absolutely is that, and I mean, it's not a bad model.
Well, it's funny because
they make money. I mean,
if you look at Nintendo versus Sony and Xbox, Nintendo has already been doing what Sony and Microsoft are trying to test the waters on now. They've been doing that forever. They're now Microsoft and PlayStation are like, oh, well, let's bring out a console that's still this console, but an update to that console. Well, Nintendo's been doing that forever. I mean, they've had slimmer models. They've had, new 3DSs. They've had, incredible. It's the slimmers, the lights, the bigger ones, the tinier ones. They always iterate on their machine almost yearly, it seems like. I feel like you're constantly buying a new Nintendo product.
One thing they have to do, though, Josh, I think, is they have to figure out a way to, like, I know you said it, Brian, like, obviously a money situation, right? Where can they get you to rebuy the game? But, like, from my understanding, and tell me if I'm wrong, you can't buy a game like you can on your phone through the App Store and share it with your family.
I just watched a video on this today. Okay, so the way that works with the sharing, like you guys probably noticed, you can create an account on the Switch. You can create multiple accounts on the Switch. Now, let's say we're playing, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I can have my account where I'm playing, I'm playing it. I could have, like, my wife create an account. She can then go in with her account and play Breath of the Wild on my Switch. However, you can't...
Downloaded one?
From what I understand, it's whatever game is on the Switch. If it's physically on the Switch, multiple people... The account has to be on that Switch. Right, but is it
a physical game cartridge? Or are we talking like downloaded?
Stuff. That I'm not 100% sure on.
Because that's the big deal. Like, obviously, there should be no problem if I have an account and my roommate had an account and we both play the physical game copy I bought. There should be no ever anything that makes my roommate buy a copy to play on the same console.
You can like take your game out of your system,
right?
And
that's
plug
what I'm
it
saying.
into like your buddy's system, and there's no problem there.
So that's like the sharing would have. Like, I'm interested to see how it works because, like, currently, me and Troy. His Xbox, home Xbox is my Xbox.
Yes.
My home Xbox is his Xbox.
So we share games.
That way, whenever I buy a game or he buys a game, we can play them on our home consoles. I can play his games even though he's not logged in because it's on his home console.
So I'll have to do a little bit more research. I'll have to go back to that video that I watched. But from what I understand, if you have two separate Nintendo Switches, so, you got like Troy's and yours, you can...
It sounds like it works like an iPhone.
I'm not really sure. All I know is you can transfer your game to his console, but then you have to deactivate your Switch while he's playing it. So basically, you can't play your Switch. Like, you guys can't
Yeah,
play the
that's
same
crazy, man.
content
Okay, so
at
that's a
the
little
same
different.
time.
Because like on an iPhone, say I took your iPhone and I have a game you really want. I can load in my Apple ID on your phone and download anything from the App Store that I've purchased. Then take my Apple ID out, plug yours back in, and as long as you don't delete that game, you can update it and continue to play it.
Well, not only that, Apple has family share, right? So if like for me, my son has an old iPhone of mine, my other son has an iPad, an old iPad of mine. I created them their own iCloud addresses, right? And so they don't get any of my information or call people randomly and yell at them in kid gibberish or anything. But literally, if I buy a game or a movie on my Apple ID account, they can watch it on their Apple device.
Oh, that's a share play.
So at some point, they have to be able to be like, all right, look, this family owns multiple Switches, right? Especially if they do it in like you, Josh. I mean, you have how many DSs in your house? God knows. You support them alone.
5 now because I traded one in.
So, like, you should be able to buy one game on your console and share it with your kids and be able to either play it at the same time or at least, if nothing else, one person can play it at a time on any of those consoles.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with like the 3DS, like we just got Mario Party. All they have to do is download an app essentially, and then we can all play Mario Party together.
Okay.
Right. So that's nice, but I don't know about like Bomberman. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with that. You know, and some game here's the other problem. I bought Mario Maker on the 3DS. And I bought it physical. One, because I typically buy physical games anyway, but I thought, if my kid puts it in and saves, it screws it. If I put it back in mine, we essentially wipe out each other's games.
Because it's saving to the actual cartridge.
I don't know what's happening because it accesses the SD card as well, but it's like if it transfers, you wipe your data.
Awesome.
And so that's not cool. That's a bummer because I wanted my kids to be able to play that game on the go, but now I'm like, well, don't just play it on my DS. If you're going to play it, don't put it in yours. Yeah. So, I mean, the other kind of, well, before we get too far off topic, the other option is they may do a new 3DS HD, right? That may be the thing that they launch so that they can keep all those titles still going. And now they still have that clamshell, strictly handheld. I feel comfortable giving this to my kids. Yeah. Because I mean, do you want to hand the Switch to your 4-year-old? No. Like
you can drop it 11 times before it breaks. Confirmed. That's YouTube.
That's why he has a DS with a Nerf case on it.
Right. So I mean, I think Nintendo I think kids are a target market for the DS line, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And the other thing too, like Henny mentioned in the chat, and I was thinking myself, like I have DS games, like original DS games that I've downloaded on my Wii U. I can play DS games. Now, the way it works, I have gamepad that shows bottom screen and top screen is the TV. Or you can change it to where you have a tiny little bottom screen and then another, so you essentially don't get the full screen on your gamepad, or you can do the full screen on your gamepad and lose the bottom screen altogether. But in some games, that's not going to work. In some games, you have to have both screens open at the same time. So it would have to be a shrunk down version, which I don't think would matter if you're trying to play 3DS games because the resolution is so bad anyway that the more you shrink it, the clearer the picture gets. Yeah. Right?
It's not going to work until Nintendo sells you a little Fire Stick device that plugs into your dock so that you can see bottom screen on the Switch and top screen on the monitor.
One thing you were saying about the dock is, do you remember Sony came out with the Sony TV? And in the Sony TV, you could put PS Vita games. And you could take a PlayStation 3 controller, which was god-awful controller, and you could plug it in and you could play Vita games at home. Now, what if they just make a dock? And I know it doesn't solve the solution for on the go, but what if they make a dock that has a 3DS cartridge slot in it that you could just insert that cartridge? and then you could play your 3DS games at home on TV. Like you said, the problem, some of it would be obviously, that you need a touch screen, right, for some of those games. And it would have to shrink it. But, maybe that's a solution down the line, is have a dock that has a 3DS, slot in it. I don't know. But here's the other thing. Do people that buy this console want to play 3DS games? Like, I mean, in reality,
I don't.
Like, I don't, right? I mean, David might, because, I mean, you could essentially say he's more of a hardcore gamer than I am. But, like, I want the new experience. I want the best experience I can have. And so, like, for me, that's what's so appealing to this is, like, okay, it's a new experience. It's something new that I can take on the go. It's what David said. It's a, home console experience on the go. For the first time, we're actually getting able to share that experience at home and the go. And not to mention, it is the best Pro controller I have ever touched in my life. That controller is the best controller. And I told David when I first bought the Switch, I said, the only thing I don't like about, obviously the joysticks a little bit, but the buttons are clicky, right, on the Switch, on the little joystick thingamajiggies, right?
Yeah, the Joy-Cons.
Joy-Cons. They're snappy, right? All the buttons are snappy. But on that controller, it is perfect, right? You have the little, like, you have that soft, like, button press touch that you had on the original freaking Nintendo controller, right? The A and B button, that was so ideal. It felt perfect. And this is how this controller feels. I called David and I said, I know that we really like the PS4 controller and we really enjoy the Xbox Pro controller, but I will tell you, this is the best controller I have put in my hands this generation, no questions asked. And, like, I sincerely feel that way. Not because I'm on this high of Switch, but I honestly feel like if I could take that controller and go play my other consoles, I would do it.
Yeah, it's pretty robust, like you said. It's got a really good feel to the shoulder buttons, the the X, Y, B, A. I really have no complaints. I even like the faux pleather feel of the grips.
And the weight of the controller is perfect.
Oh, it's got weight to it. It's good.
So it feels great, and they obviously didn't take a note out of the Xbox book because they made bumpers that actually feel well. For me, like, they killed it with this controller. Josh, do you like it? I mean,
there's a secret message written in this controller. Yeah, see where Brian's pointing on the screen right now? For you guys that are listening, on the right stick, there's a little message engraved. It's hard to see, but it's there, and it says something like "Thanks to gamers" or something like that.
Thanks to all gamers, I believe, with a Z in there somewhere instead of a S or something. It's very elite.
Yeah, David's checking it out. Look at him.
Yeah, it's if you have a flashlight, it's even easier to see. Like, it's in there, like, inside the clear plastic on the board, the circuit board inside. But yeah, I agree with you, Troy. Dude, this thing, it's not, like, overly heavy. Like, I actually compared it to an Xbox controller that has the rechargeable pack in it. It's actually lighter than that, but it's not like the PS3 controller with no rumble, where it's like, I'm like, what am I even holding? There's nothing here. All the buttons feel good. The D-pad, which I know Josh and I have talked about, like, the Switch itself not having an actual D-pad. The D-pad is classic Nintendo D-pad. It feels amazing.
Can't wait for Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, so I got zero bad things to say about the Pro controller itself. It's like 10 out of 10 for me. IGN can quote me on that.
even the what is it? The micrometer or whatever that
See it.
It has the controller. The probably reason it's so expensive, it does have the tilt functions to it.
What's the name of that? Like, it just escaped my brain.
It's a timitter. It's some form of timitter.
There you go. So, but even that, like, playing Zelda, right? And you're like, you got your arrow out, you just barely bump the controller, and it's like, oh yeah, I can just aim with this, and it works. It doesn't feel like, oh, I don't want this. And if you don't want it, guess what? You can turn it off. Like, that's what I love. I think the most about this system is that 1-2 Switch is the Nintendo gimmick. Right? It allows you to, like, do HD rumble and feel the balls rolling inside the controller.
Don't ever say that sentence ever again.
but
You're like,
but at the end of the day, you put this thing on, you put the Joy-Cons on, and it's now a modern controller with 2 analog sticks. The PSP, like it, I always wanted that second analog stick, right? I'm like, I want to play a first-person shooter on this thing.
Yep.
Right.
And David, you may or may not like this, but I want to see Nintendo make an Overwatch style game with a Nintendo flair, but make it rated.
Love that.
It's called
Make
Splatoon
it
2.
rated at least. No, I don't want Split. Like, I like Splatoon. I think it has its place.
Okay.
But I think it's time for Nintendo to get back to the GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, even a game like Time Splitters, but in an arena shooter.
But when you say Overwatch, like it makes me think of like having like
Accelerometer.
One character where it's like you have, like Fireball Mario, where he's running around shooting fireballs at people, and then you have like your, Link with a bow and arrow, and dude, that could be really cool. That could be a really cool.
I thought he meant he wanted microtransactions. No? Am I off on that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing, and also the controller has the ability to scan in amiibos.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
You
got
sit your amiibo on it, and you, boom, like they thought of everything when it comes to that controller, and that's what's so awesome to me. And you I'll throw this out there real quick. You asked me about like the amiibos, and like what's so cool to me is that it's not a one-time use function. You can use these amiibos every day, and it gives you an interaction with these toys that make you feel like you're a kid, and you sit them on your controller and you get something in the game, and all of a sudden you're like you feel like a kid again. You feel like you're back playing a game and interacting with toys, and it does sound kiddish because it is, and it's a lot of freaking fun for an old man that's 33 years old to actually get that feeling again and play it, and be excited when I go to a store and I'm like, oh, $5 toy, oh my God, yes!
I will say this about the amiibo. At least, I mean, let's be honest, it's DLC. But
I wouldn't even call it DLC.
Well, I say it's DLC, but you get a tangible item. Because I mean, I can't even tell you how much DLC I've paid for, and then it's on consoles I don't even have anymore.
Yeah,
right. It's like, at least with this, if you're a collector, if you like little figurines, boom, they got you covered.
That's why this gets me. So I'm going to show, and I'll say what I'm showing. But this is a statue of Soldier 76, collector's edition of Overwatch. I love statues like this. Getting stuff like that in a collector's edition, absolutely love it. And that's why amiibos appeal to me so much, because it's like, so the other day I put out a tweet that, on my birthday I was playing, basically all day I played a bunch of Breath of the Wild, and I turned 33 this year, and to my recollection, I believe I started playing the original Zelda at 4 years old. So this is my 29th anniversary with Zelda, right? That's what I spent my 29 years with Zelda doing. And so like these figures of the amiibos mean a lot to me, because it kind of represents like the amiibos are like the childhood me, and then I'm playing the game that's like for adult me.
Yeah.
Guys, King Gothalion had 20,000 viewers watching him play Zelda. 20,000. Yeah. Tweeted a picture today of 3 of the 8-bit links saying, if I don't get a hat from these guys tomorrow, I swear, I'm not even going to say what he said, but he's like, one of these better drop me a hat.
I need to tweet at King Gothalion.
Is that a one-time drop?
No. So it's
the first time I scanned mine, I got the original Link hat.
He has 3 of them, so that he can try to get it to work.
So you can get the whole outfit, the original outfit from that amiibo. It is a random drop, but like you said, you can do it once a day. I think there's three different outfits you can get from just amiibos, and that's what's cool to me. When we played Gears of War 2, and I always go back to this when I talk about DLC or things that are like specific to a game, you got a gold gun for pre-ordering that edition of Gears of War 2, and you couldn't get it any other way. And
they never released it.
They never released it, and that's what's cool about this is like you can only get that outfit by having that amiibo. You can't get it any other way. You can get an outfit that looks similar, but you can't ever get any other way. And like, it's cool to me that like I have these toys and I can interact with them and play the game, and I get something in that game that brings more nostalgia back to it. Right. And it's something else to look forward to when I sit down and like I put all these toys next to me. My little boy's like so excited. My wife looks at me like I'm, foolish. And, how much money did you spend? Oh, don't worry about that, honey. But like, you put it on and there you go. Like that's a really cool experience. And like, I think that's the thing, right? To sum this up, like from the Pro Controller to, the console itself and the release and the amiibos, like they have created something here that like is Nintendo again with that catch-22 where it's like, hey, here's an experience that you can enjoy and bring back the nostalgia of Nintendo and put it back at place. Like, this is Nintendo. This is what we are. This is what all you people over the age of 25 remember doing when you were a kid. Whether it's you started on regular Nintendo or you started on Super Nintendo, somewhere along that line, you remember these series, and this is what brings you back to your gaming. And what started it off for us sitting here doing a podcast is that original, life of us playing Nintendo and finding the interaction with our buddy sitting next to us. And I cannot wait for a game where David can bring it over and sit next to me, and he can play on his Switch and I can play on mine, and we're interacting on a couch co-op game somehow. Like bring back Double Dragon and let me have a new Double Dragon interaction. Like that would be killer, man. Like that's what I love so much is playing games with people more than I like playing by myself. And that's why Zelda is crazy to me, because I usually don't like playing by myself very much, but I don't play by myself very often. But anyways,
we can do that with Shovel Knight on the Switch right now. I believe it is co-op.
It is.
Yeah. And that's
about that mainly because me and my son were playing 1-2 Switch, and 1-2 Switch is a lot of fun. I wouldn't recommend it for everybody, but if you have a decent amount of people you don't mind embarrassing yourself in front of, it's a great game for it. But
we played it for 4 hours on Friday night.
Me and my boy to play something a little more, meaty than 1-2 Switch.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot more games on this thing. A little pro tip I just found out today. So here in the Americas, we only got like a few physical copies, and I think there's like 4 games right now on the eStore that you can get for download that you can't get in a store. Create a second account on your Switch. Say your country of origin is Japan. You have access to all the Japanese games. Some of them are in English as well. So if you're looking for more games and want to look into some of the Japanese games that are ported, they said they have English. Some of them don't. You gotta do your research. But yeah, you can potentially tap into that library because this thing's region free. So that's kind of cool that they did that.
Amiibos aren't region locked, and these aren't region locked now. So, I mean, that's awesome to me.
So I didn't want to tell you this because of your addictive personality, but every Amiibo made works on Zelda.
That's true, but
including the cards. The Animal Crossing Amiibo cards all work.
See, the cards don't talk to me, though. And I'll tell you the other thing about the Amiibo. I see you shaking your head, Troy. The other thing about the Amiibos that are not Zelda, particularly Zelda, they only, from what I've seen, IGN posted a video of them scanning different Amiibos to see what it would pop up. It seems like anything that's not particular to Zelda won't give it any kind of chests. It just kind of gives like food and
correct. It's just items, in-game items or whatever.
Which is cool, I guess, but it's not worth like tracking down every single Amiibo ever made.
And don't scan more than 4 at a time before you pick everything up, because you won't be able to get any more gear than that.
I learned that last night. I literally worked, 8 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. Yesterday.
He's like, I gotta scan my Amiibos when I get home.
And I was tired, dude. I was so tired. I was like, look, I'm just scan my Amiibos real quick, get my gear, and go to bed. And so I literally just like doot 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 doot. I went to go pick up my stuff, and there was like 3 chests. I was like, I just scanned like 8 Amiibo. What the hell happened?
Well, yeah. I mean, I hate you, Josh, for telling me that. Because I could have bought more for $5.
Behind me, I have 80 of them in their box.
So they're not doing anything for you.
You don't open very many of them?
No, the very first amiibo I ever got was Mario. I have him. I have him open, and I also have him sealed. The neighbor kid gave my son Star Fox. I have him sealed behind me. This one hurts, but for Christmas, my wife has opened every one of the Animal Crossing ones. And this is the villager from Animal Crossing. I'm showing him on the camera right now. And this is really hard to find. And I had to open it. And I died inside.
Do you have a Wii Fit trainer?
Would it kill you if I told you I saw that for $5 today?
Dude, if you did, please go buy it and send it to me. I will gladly pay it
now. So it might be slightly easier to find.
Yeah. But yeah, I have so at Walmart was the only place. My Walmart always is just bare bones. I walk in one day, they have 2 Wii Fit trainers, so I got one.
That's what I was reading about, like, because I was looking into like what were the rare amiibos, what were some of the rarest. Wii Fit trainer is actually one of the rarest. It seems like right now, like anybody that's into like reselling them would definitely be interested in the whole Smash series, Smash Brothers series of the amiibos.
I obviously debated opening mine, right? And this is a question I asked you in Scrap Gear, and I know he has a ton open as well. So I would like to see how long it takes him to scan them all into Zelda. That would be hilarious. He'd spend like hours just scanning them in.
Dude's balling in meat in that game.
Yeah. I would. I mean, for me, I just decided to open most of mine. We have some in boxes, obviously, still, but I've decided to open because, like, for me, like I said, it brings back that feeling of being a kid and playing with them, and scanning them in and receiving the reward in game.
Zelda seems like the first game that would be like, I didn't care about like putting one in Smash and leveling it up, right? There was not many things I really cared to do. The thing is, like, and we have like the Amiibo Festival on the Wii U. It's a terrible game, but it's Animal Crossing themed. So my wife and my daughters, they'll play, and I'll even play it with them, even though it's really not that fun. But we have the entire set we're missing one Amiibo from the Animal Crossing set, and it's a duplicate of a different outfit that Isabel's wearing. That's it. But every time those come up, I would show up at home with 4 new, and my wife's like, "Oh, it's Christmas!" They love Animal Crossing. I get the cards for them, and we have a stack of the Amiibo cards, and now they work on the DS game where they.
Do you buy those in packs? Like
yeah, but the problem is they're like a Pokemon pack. Like, you don't know what you're getting.
Oh, this is bad.
So you end up with double.
This is bad.
Yeah.
That is a bad addiction.
Yeah. So I mean, we've been able to like we just kind of do them like they were good stocking stuffers, that kind of stuff. It's not like the only way to truly collect those would be to find a group of people and be like, "Hey, what are your doubles?" and start doing trades and whatnot.
You can email me at Troy@Amos'sGaming.com, and we can trade cards together. Please email me if you're interested.
I have to ask you guys
Friday Night Magic, but
about the Amiibo, and as far as like these like special costumes or anything like that. Over the last couple of years, I've become kind of jaded to the whole paying for a game and then getting nickel and dime to get the entire game. So do these costumes that you guys are getting, are there like stat bonuses to these things? Are they purely cosmetic?
No,
I don't know the whole breakdown as far as like fully.
Lie to him, please.
Out. Well, I
bought the DLC.
I don't know.
And I got a Switch shirt, and it doesn't do jack. It's like good enough armor for the first 10 minutes of the game, and then after that, it's taking up space in my inventory.
Well, that's typically what these are, right? Like when you buy a game and like you pre-order at GameStop and you get the release guns, they don't give you the best thing. But like I can tell you, I don't know if they scale with you. Like if the hat drops for me now, because when it dropped for David, I think it was the same level, right? That your gear was on.
Well, all the gear is. So I don't know if you've been to this part, but we talked about it. I know that you can upgrade your gear in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So everything drops like, the cap of the hero, the original Link cap, drops at exactly the same defense, and I think mine is at 11. Mine's at 11.
Okay, so you've upgraded it, or you're allowed to upgrade it.
You can definitely upgrade it. I don't think I've upgraded this one. I'm sorry, that's actually a 3. I don't know why it's 3 to 12. Anyways,
But I think it dropped at whatever level you were at. So it's not buffing it.
well, you
I
don't
think
level
it's just
up.
huh?
You don't level up.
No, I'm saying your gear. The gear level isn't higher